Today is November 26th, 2023. Professional day traders talk about day trading needs to be considered as a business. And I heard that startup businesses are incredibly difficult to do, where initially the initial income is negative. The initial income is negative. And even if the business is in the intermediate area, the most the founders take from that business is $100,000. That's it. That's the most. And then when the business becomes massively successful, then things can be considered differently. Professional day traders talk about day trading as being a business. And I thought to myself, I've never owned a business, but I have owned a business. I realized that today. When I was working, either as a summer intern, or somebody who is working in the professional field, I would just consider myself an employee of that company, and that I need to maximize. I've never considered it that way, but I worked very, very hard. I worked incredibly hard, but I never thought that I was in a business for myself. Then I realized, after being unemployed for quite a while now, and having worked in the industry for quite a while now, I realized that even if I'm working for somebody, I'm working for myself. I have to meet the expectations of that individual who provides the funds for me to be retained further each and every day. Then I realized that my efforts are actually in the business of myself. Then the real crossover occurred when I started to day trade and realized, hey, I'm in the business for myself, which means that whatever I do hits my bottom line. It provides revenue for myself. And it is me who determines how much I'm going to make. Therefore, I work for myself. I am an employee of myself. And as I drudged and struggled and worked hard, and I realized that if I take that extra hours of sleep, if I just pull away from what I'm doing, I'm cheating myself out of what the situation is. I'm cheating myself. I'm essentially taking what is mine. And so the harder I work, it's for me. The harder I work, it is for the benefit of me, because it's going to get me to that level where I will truly become a consistently profitable day trader. But until then, as another professional day trader said, I used to work like 15 to 16 hours a day, every day. And then now that they have achieved a level of competency and consistency in accumulating their funds, they can just take it easy. They can go on YouTube, and whenever I see them, they're at a completely different elevation, because they've achieved something. They've achieved it, and they know what it takes to get to that point, and then they have achieved it, and they've crossed to that other side where they taste the benefit and the rewards of their hard work in the outcome of knowing that if they do this, they'll get that. If they do this, they get that. That's the reality of day trading. And therefore, I own my business. And the harder that I work, the smarter that I work, the more consistent I am, the results will come. And eventually, I will be consistently profitable. Until then, just like these salespeople who pound the pavement, they pound they pound the phone calls, they call and call and call until I have achieved a certain level of competency where I can join those elites who have demonstrated with their bank account of consistent returns. And my kids told me this before they ran off. My kids told me this before they ran off. They said, you know, we were. People tell us that we are hard workers, and it just comes from our work ethic. Okay, so they're alluding to the fact that there's some genetic qualities in me that allow me to work hard to get to that point. Another thing that I realized that old people will say this. Old people will say this. Old people will say this. The old people usually have experience, and they say this. They say, old people who are wise will say this. Old people who are wise. I can just grow old, but never become wise. But they say this. Do what you love, because what will happen is that if you love something, you'll just spend all the time in the world until at the moment where you're right at the doorstep of 6 foot under or pushing up the daisies. If you do what you love, you're going to do whatever it is until you are 6 feet under. Is essentially, I think that's how we do it. That's the standard way of things. And I realized today, the harder I work, the better it is for me. I'm still studying every chance I get, and I appreciate. I cannot say this enough. Today is Sunday, okay? Outside is really cold. It's about 27 degrees outside. And in here, it's nice and toasty because of this lady who owns this Office Evolution is kind enough to allow somebody who is in a transitional period between being homeless and hopefully I'll get to a point sometime, I'll keep at it, sometime in the future I'll get to that elevation.